Globalization and Me, Honoring Our Students' Cultures in a Multicultural Art Classroom. My student population comes from richly diverse backgrounds defined by race, ethnicity, cultural background, and social class. This dynamic student population is truly multicultural. What does that term mean for a 21st century art teacher? Performance artist Guillermo Gomez Pina gives his definition. Multicultural is an ambiguous term. It can mean a cultural pluralism in which the various ethnic groups collaborate and dialogue with one another without having to sacrifice their particular identities, and this is extremely desirable. But it can also mean a tutti-frutti cocktail of cultures, languages, and art forms in which everything becomes everything else. This is a dangerous notion that strongly resembles the bankrupt concept of the melting pot with its familiar connotations of integration, homogenization, and pasteurization. How do I address the cultural diversity in my art classroom? I realized that I needed to first examine my own background closely before I could consider teaching others about theirs. I researched my Italian heritage and reflected on my own identity. By doing this, I could make a better connection between my culture and the cultures of my students. I found that including art projects which provided opportunities for the students to connect to other cultures made them excited to learn about their own through artistic expression. It was important to also consider enculturation and racialization when developing art projects for such a diverse group of learners. I wanted my students to have ethnic-specific experiences that promoted a healthy, positive ethnic identity. We would need to discuss race-specific issues that they might be aware of but had not previously discussed in terms of visual culture. In order for my students to connect with these ideas, we look at several artists who share an interest in preserving their own cultural identity through their artwork. Each artist has a very unique style and use of visual imagery. However, through self-expression and art making, they each give meaning to their existence. Artist and daughter of a Holocaust survivor, Karen Frostig inspired me as a teacher to cultivate my students to inquire about issues that have deep personal meaning and relevancy to their lives and ask them to question democratic issues regarding ideas of choice and freedom. Tom Anderson promotes encouragement of our students to think about real issues and to solve real problems that have significance outside the classroom, promoting individual solutions to conceptual and design problems. Once these measures are in place and the dialogue has begun in the classroom, it is time to begin the creative process. In choosing a culturally relevant project, I take into consideration the fact that one of the largest populations in our elementary school are the Mayans from Guatemala. Each year in October, on Dia de los Muertos, All Saints' Day, villagers from the region of Zacatepeques gather to pay respect to their dead ancestors by flying giant round kites ranging in size from a few feet to 50 feet in diameter. Each of these kites is a work of art combining color, pattern, and design along with religious iconography. The kites not only pay homage to their loved ones, but they also reflect the political and historic inequalities in their current culture. After researching this custom, the students and I devised the following art project that was a way for some students to be expert in the knowledge of their own culture and gave others a way to explore a new culture through visual imagery. Each student selected 3 historic or political topics that have cultural, visual, or global significance to the Mayan people and created a round painting representing their kite design. Through investigation, research, and class discussion in the art room, the 5th graders developed a better understanding of each other's culture and hopefully inspired them to look more closely at their own. Creating visual culture that connects the dots for the students to consider what it means to be American and multicultural in the 21st century gives them an opportunity to be global citizens. This original acrylic painting combines traditional colors, symbols, and imagery reflected in the Mayan kite of Guatemala. The central image remains faceless so that the student may consider what it might look like if they were to superimpose their own face in the figure.